Hi, I'm Adam C and welcome to my Cobra and a video that's very different to normal. So I'm going to give you a little tour of my Cobra and then a point of view drive from my eyeline. So I've got this new setup that I'm going to try out and we're going to take the Cobra for a little spin. So this is it. Obviously, as you know, it is a Dax Tojeiro. I shall show you under the bonnet and you can see the units. So they should have a Ford 427. Straight away, I'd like to admit, not only is it a replica, but it has the wrong engine. It's got a Chevy 350. So that's a 5.7 litre V8 from 1974. It's 350 cubic inches. It provides 350 brake horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. So nice and easy to remember. So it's got all the shiny bits, bit of an oil leak. That's just Chevy V8s for you. So that is the lamp underneath it. The car probably only weighs about a ton or just over a ton because the body is made of fiberglass. The things I've done to myself, including like the stickers, the tyre writing, I've changed up the bumpers. The fans are currently not in. I haven't replaced them because they broke last summer and I kind of like the open mouth look, but it did have some fake fans on it as well. It also used to have sun visors up here, but the driver's one fell into my lap whilst I was driving and I haven't yet fixed those. I took the other one off to be symmetrical. Talking of symmetry, it's also asymmetrical in that I still don't have the side window that a friend of mine recently smashed. They're on back order, so that's why I still haven't got one of those. So it's going to be a bit more windy than it should be, but I've still got this one in place because they do make a difference. And you can tell when the car gets really dirty, so does the passenger seat. So we're going to go for a little spin. There's a tunnel. I do need fuel, so I might have to fill it up. But this is my Dax Tojeiro Cobra replica that you may be familiar with from my channel. Normally, when I drive a car, I'm driving to somewhere or from somewhere, so I'm going to an event or from an event. But today it's it's a really nice day. There are no clouds in the sky whatsoever, but it's very cold. So I've got some driving gloves. I don't like wearing gloves because you can't get as good purchase as skin on a wheel as gloves, even though leather gloves and wooden wheels, that's kind of what driving gloves were for. Originally, people would wear leather driving gloves so they can get a good grip on the wooden steering wheel. So people who wear leather driving gloves on non-wooden steering wheel are incorrect, but I still prefer having my hands free. So we'll see what we can do. So let's hop in the car and I can show you the genuine driver's point of view. The door does need a bit of a slam. So we've got speedo this side, we've got the rev counter here. So Carroll Shelby, who created the Cobra, that is a sticker by the way, not a genuine autograph. Everything's fake on this car, but Carroll Shelby said you drive on the revs, you do not drive on the speed. So he actually used to put the speedo like over here because he needed a speedo for the homologation for road purposes, but he kind of didn't think it was necessary, so he put it way over there. So it should be as far away from the driver's point of view as possible to ring true with Carroll Shelby's wants. So when I bought the car, it was the other way around, so I asked them to swap them, so they're now correct. So we've got the water temperature here, oil temperature and oil pressure, sorry, and then oil temperature there. So we've got the battery volts there, that rings around 14 volts, and then we've got the fuel gauge here. Now I don't know if it's the same from your point of view, it probably is, but when I'm in first, which I am now, it's 5-speed manual, first, second, third, fourth and fifth, and then where sixth is, that's where reverse is. But when you're in neutral or first or third, you can't see the fuel gauge, so you have to kind of put it into fourth or second to actually see how much fuel you've got. I've got about half a tank at the moment, but the engine isn't on, the ignition isn't on, so we can't see that. We've got a fan here, there's also an override switch. The only creature comforts, if you want to call them creature comforts, this car has got is that electric fan and a brake servo. That's it. There's no cigarette lighter, so I can't plug in my sat nav. And there's no ABS, there's no traction control, there's no heating whatsoever. The only kind of heat flow that is in this car is kind of these vents here that draw the natural heat from the footwell, which isn't that hot, up to the windscreen. Engine start button, fog light, and then that just, I don't know what that does, it just lights up. So where are my keys? Here we go. So we've got a battery isolator, we've got the immobilizer, we have to do the immobilizer, it's got a keyhole here. By the way, this key is from a 90s Ford. It's a 5-decade car, I think, 74 engine, 88 chassis, 90s Ford Sierra switchgear, built in the noughties, and then in the 10s decades is when it was painted, and now we are driving it in this current decade. So If you can hear that, fuel pump. Just turn that on. So yeah, you prime the fuel pump, and then you could give it a few pumps if it's cold, it needs it, but it's not cold. So engine start. Here we go. So we've got the 2 side pipes either side. You do need to be careful of them when getting out of the car because they get very warm. And then we've got the harness. Let's bolt that in. 4-point harness. A little bit awkward to reach around. Again, you've got to be careful when you take that off because it might kind of fly into the car. Talking of cars, there's a Tesla driving by, probably looking at me like a freak with a camera on my head. So let's clip that in. No passenger at the moment, as you can see. It is a lot lighter without a passenger. You can definitely tell how much faster it is when you've got no passenger. So I have pinned in the bonnet, that's good. So let's go find some roads. So I need to turn around somewhere. Right, so we've got 3 pedals as per. It is a normal manual gearbox. Something about the gear stick. Original Cobras, let's get into second. Original Cobras, their gearboxes were mounted too far back and had a very long throw. So that's why they were bent forwards, so you could help with that kind of long throw. And then they would be 4-speed manual, so you lift up the hook to get reverse. But this is 5-speed and reverse is where 6 is, as I said. So we are going to turn around here. There's no power steering, so it's a little bit heavy, as you might be able to see. And there's not that great ground clearance in this car either. So I've got to be careful going off-road as I am doing right now. Here we go. But to be fair, other than this heavy steering, it's a fairly easy car to drive. And I do drive it like a granny at times. Yes, turning circle isn't the best. It's a small car, it's about the size of a Mazda MX-5. It doesn't look it, but it is. So, there we go. Seconds. Let's go through this tunnel. Short little tunnel, not long enough for any kind of acceleration, but we'll get some revolutions. Let's do it. Right, let's knock it into neutral, why not? Demonic. Now this car does have a slight fueling issue at the moment. We shall see if that occurs during this drive. It kind of stutters. I've tried to get it sorted and it has come back. Let's get into second and go. So, there you go, that was second through to third gear, fourth gear, and fifth gear is such a long cruising gear that it has no acceleration in fifth. Literally, it's for cruising on a motorway, which is great because most of the time when I'm driving, I am just cruising to get to and from car meets. I do a lot of miles in this car compared to maybe some others would do. So indicators are on the left-hand side, as I said, like they're from Ford Sierra, etc. You've got wipers and lights to the right as well. So go past this old fuel station. Nice for pictures in there. I just love the view in front of me of the bonnet stretching out front. That's what I like the most about this car. Well, one of the things I like most about it. Right, it's the rubbish junction. Let's just go. So I can feel a little bit of stuttering from the acceleration. It's not running quite as well as it should do, but it's still fast enough. It is pushing 350. I have recently put it on the rolling road. 350 brake horsepower. So it's probably close to 350 power per ton. Close, maybe just under, we shall see once I get to weigh it. So I need to get around to doing that. Oh, these roads are rubbish. So let's go through Hindhead Tunnel. Oh, it's a little bit stuttery, but we'll make do. It could be bad fuel, we don't know. Maybe the tank's got some residue in it. So it's actually quite nice. I'm now in fifth gear, cruising along a dual carriageway. I hope you can hear me all right. Hope you can hear the car all right. You've got side pipes either side of the driver, so it does bounce off the walls quite nicely when you're driving through tunnels, over bridges. It's a good sounding car. It doesn't rev that high, it doesn't scream like a lot of V8s. It's just a low-pitched rumble, which I really like. It really suits the car. I mean, sometimes a Ford V8 would sound quite nice. If anything, they probably sound nicer than the Chevy. I don't know, it depends what exhaust you've got, but I've got a pretty custom straight through exhaust, like from the manifold to the out. There's not much at all, it's just a straight pipe. So we are coming up to a tunnel, so I'll need to get you into the left-hand lane, slow down a little bit. They've got like average speed cameras through the tunnel, and obviously we are sensible, we are good people. It's a lovely place to be, and as I said, it gets lots of attention on the road. People tend to like the car. It's the most recognizable shape in the car industry, or one of them. It's definitely, everyone knows an AC Cobra, and no, it's not a genuine one, but people can recognize what it is or what it's meant to be. And the general rule is, if you see one out on the road, especially driven by someone in their 20s, it's unlikely to be a real one, because a real one of these would be worth about £1 million. Now I've got a Ford Mondeo slowing down with me because he wants to hear me through the tunnel. I think there's some van behind me also waiting for some noises. Here we go. A few revolutions, there you go. It's a little bit busier than I'd hoped. We can still drop down though. Yes, I like it. There's a lot of bass. Oh, don't know if you heard a few cracks and pops on the overrun. It does shoot flames, but I don't think it is today. It's a little cold for that. One last burst as we exit the tunnel. Pinehurst Tunnel was great for this. So it is a carburetted car, so it's not as instant as fuel injection might be, but that's the point. It's an old car, it's a 74 engine, these cars were made in the 60s, it's not meant to be modern in the way it runs, but you got to treat it with a similar type of respect. I had to get blue with white stripes when I bought this car. I do love them in red with no stripes, it's really nice, but the blue with the white stripes is the classic livery, if you want to call it, for the AC Cobras, and then I personalised it visually to make it how my perfect vision of a Cobra would be, with the roundels, the branding stickers all over it, etc. And number 88 on the side of this car, when I was a kid, the AC Cobra was my favourite car, and I had a model with 88 on the side that I built with my dad. That is why I have 88 on the side of my car. And a lot of our interest in cars does stem from childhood obsessions and model cars, and that's why I love the Cobra so much, and that's why I like Vipers as well, because I had some model Vipers. And when I was a kid, I thought every AC Cobra was a kit car. I just thought that's what they were. So I wanted a Cobra kit car, and that's what I got. Dax is amongst the most popular and kind of better kits in this country, along with AK in America, and some over here you get Superformance, and there's Kirkham, and there's various licensed ones that are allowed to have the Shelby name in them, but you're literally just paying for a license. They're not necessarily any better. You can have aluminium kits, you can have Didion chassis, you can have all sorts. There's so much variety in the Cobra market. Mine is pretty basic, pretty standard Chevy 350, galvanized chassis, fiberglass body, a Dax. It's pretty much what I want. Let's downshift into third, little acceleration. There you go. Doesn't go straight away, a little stutter. It doesn't quite like it. I don't know, maybe the carb needs a tune. I've got a Edelbrock carb, apparently Holly would be better, but we have the lip hook services coming up now. So we're going to pull in and fill up the car, because it's not as simple as just filling up a car. I don't need fuel additive. I'm pretty sure it runs on unleaded, because that's all I've been putting in it. I hope it's not still a leaded engine, being a 74 block, but I've never been told that, and I've never had any issues otherwise, because I've just converted my MG to run on unleaded fuel. But I put Shell V-Power in all of my cars, and fuel prices at the moment are so high. It's $160 for just normal unleaded. It's probably like $170 for super unleaded. So, driver's side is where the fuel tank is. So we're going to pull over and look like a bit of a freak with a camera on my head. So let's turn it off. Just turn off the key. There we go. Handbrake up, like an Aston Martin in a way. Harness off. Oh. So that's how you open the door, and then you give it a little kick. We've got the fuel tank here, and then a key into the lock and fill it up. Now the fuel tank, it curves round, so if you pull the trigger all the way, it won't go in, it just splashes back. So once you've got it approved, you have to hold it halfway down. So I'll catch up with you once I filled up, because this takes a while. It's got a 70 litre tank, it takes a while, especially when you can only hold it halfway. Yeah, see you in a bit. So let's go find some better roads to finish the video on as a lorry pulls in. Right, are we good? We're all good. I think we're going up. Yes, here we go. I did get some funny looks in the fuel station. It's quite a firm suspension in this, but it's set up nicely. It's very planted. I've driven a few Cobras that aren't quite as nice as this one, so I think I got very lucky with buying this. Right, let's go. Careful around the corner. There we go. Right. Oh, that's sharp and sudden bends. Didn't expect that. So can't be too early on the throttle. The back will step out. It has got a Jaguar LSD, limited slip diff, so it does handle quite nicely, but it's very snappy because most of the weight is on the front, so when it goes, it does go. But I'd like to think that I know what it's doing. Have I just pulled back onto the motorway? Yes, I have. Well, that went wrong. That went very wrong. Well, this is interesting. We're like beneath the trees. There's a pigeon in the road. This is the horn, by the way. On the end of the indicator stalk is the horn. Let's go. Jeez. Oh, I forget how quick it is in the cold air. That's nice. We need to get out of this village. Causing a nuisance. Whoa. There we go. That was my brakes locking up because I have no anti-lock brakes. Oh, I can smell that tyre smoke. Right, here we are. A main road, unsuitable for heavy goods. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have chosen it. Oh, I cannot see out of the road very well. I've probably ground out, almost. Okay, let's go. Oh look, we can accelerate up to 40. And that's 40. But to conclude this video, I'm going to surprise Georgie. You may remember her from a recent video of mine in her Focus RS. Oh, I don't like it. She's never been in this car, and I don't even know if she's in. I just happened to be passing by. Let's see. Hey, you working? Nope. Come outside. Hello! Do you want to go in it? Just a quick round the block.
I didn't hear you pull up.
Good. I was still.